BP, as we come to you, really surprising. Couple of key scratchings out of today, including the second on the card, Popstar Princess out. So relatively small fields. I wasn't expecting a couple of these.
No, look, morning to you, Michael. I think if the forecast had fallen, I wouldn't have been surprised. Gee, there was a lot of rain that was forecast for Tauranga to fall overnight, and it didn't happen at all. They're lucky if they got a drop. Look, it's threatening a little bit with some overcast sort of looking clouds above us. So let's hope that we can get through the racing card here. But is it just that time of the season that we're falling into now, where, look, some horses have had some hard racing on some very firm surfaces that we've had over the last sort of 6 to 7 weeks, and now we're getting to that back end of the summer and the early part of the autumn, where we're seeing a sort of a change of horses that are stepping out. Now I think that's what it is with our middle range of runners in that sort of 65 through to the 80 bracket anyway, with so many light numbers with our horses here this afternoon, Michael, which is a shame because of course it's Saturday stakes and there's some good stake money available.
Yeah, there is. I'm really surprised that the second on the card is shortened right up. Let's get to the market for that one because it's lost the favourite, so that's going to change things dramatically. Now, Hasha Halo is back into 2.9. We know how good she is, and look, she maybe could have been favourite anyway, but yeah, fair to say it's been a while since we've seen a win next to her name. And what do you make of this, Stephen? It, I'm sure, had a major reshaping of the market when you lose a Popstar Princess out of the second on the card.
Absolutely. The opening lines basically go out the window, Michael. Hasa Halo, look, got as short as 270 on the scratching. We felt that was a little bit short on the back of the scratching of the favourite and Popstar Princess. We've eased it back out to $2.90. Awkward speed race now that the favourite, or the look-to-be starting favourite and Popstar Princess prior to scratchings, was going to be the leader with Ona Noir. Now, Ona Noir will get that uncontested lead, so I think we'll get a nice, strong support around number 3 during the later morning and early parts of the afternoon, $3.80. But overall, hard to give a lead here. Punters a little bit confused. There's an even spread. Pasabache, La Mia Stella are both mirroring each other. $6 on opening this morning, now trading at $5.50. Lady Nadal, there's also support there for the Baker Forsman runner at 6.5. And then you're looking at the double figure lines around walk and buy at $10. But I think Ona Noir might be one that punters look for, knowing the fact that they do their speed map. It could be the obvious leader now that the favourite and Popstar Princess come out this morning.
Let's look at that speed map, and yes, it's the only one we have definitely going forward at the start on Noir. So Sam Collett could get the lead from barrier 3. Hasa Halo's really interesting because it's the favourite, but it's been such a long time since we saw it win, and could potentially be getting ready for an Australian campaign. One of many good rides for Leith Innes today, who I think will win the Jockeys Challenge. BP, this really puts a spanner in the works here. I'm not sure if you caught our earlier preview with Richo, but Richo was saying that La Mia Stella was his best of the day, so we've got to put some weight on that. Wow, is that right? Gee, that is decent chat, isn't it, from Graham Richardson there around La Mia Stella. The tempo of the race is a big concern, it certainly is, and it really does fall into the hands of Ona Noir, who was second up here this afternoon. Looked good through the autumn last campaign, did this run Ona Noir. Hasa Halo, though, is a horse who's Group 1 company. She's Group 1 quality, as we saw by winning 1,000 guineas last season. And the last run to the races was exceptional. Now, we're going to take in this run where the horses run 10th. But the splits, I mean, gee, this horse has just been able to really run through the clock here from running 10th and beating home only, what, 5 runners or 4 runners. He ended up being the fastest right across the board for the whole day. 800, 600, 400, 200. She was the fastest. She's come home in 32.77, 21.71 and 11.3. If she can find herself in a small field close enough, gee, she's got the turn of foot to be good enough here, Michael. I'm concerned about the tempo of the race, yes, but with it being a small field, she may not get too far off them. I just thought she was the best horse in the race. I've marked her as my best on the program. I see her, if she's not too far off them, she has that turn of foot where she can make up 2 lengths very quickly on the leaders. I like her a lot, Hasa Halo. Okay, that's a nice push early doors for Hasa Halo, the second on the card. The third is an intriguing race because it's very small on numbers, but high on class. There's some good horses here. Cinerama's a good horse. Tight Line spoke to Stephen Marsh. He's confident it can win on a track where it's won before. Together was really good last time.
on a wet track at Ellerslie, but I do think it's more suited to given the ground. I'm a little bit concerned about the good track today. Let's see where the money has gone. And again, tricky one for you guys to work out, Stephen, because these are horses Tight Line, Cinerama and Together, which have all attracted money in their recent races.
I want to work out starting price. Tight Line was a very short commodity compared to Cinerama at Ellerslie, but Cinerama got through the track conditions superior than Tight Line, but back on a better track, it's just hard to assess where they're going to finish here in their starting prices. 250 plays 260. Down to dollars invested. No surprise here, Cinerama has been one of the best back commodities throughout the season, particularly in the CD, but she holds around about 4 times more money than Tight Line, so saying that she could start favourite later on this afternoon over the 1,600 metres in front of Tight Line. $2.80 you could have got around Cinerama this morning, now trading at $2.60 on the back of that warm support. Together, well supported also, 360. Just had to tighten or drifted out to 380 to get that overall percentage shortened. And Stacey Ann, look, not friendless 8 into 7. The only runner they don't want is Laura Mia at $31. So, yeah, tricky one to assess down to track conditions, but strong lead would be around Cinerama, 280 into 260, second fave currently.
BP, as we look at the speed map here with Stacey Ann going forward, I thought this was one of those races where it's so tactical. If you're one spot further back than you need to be, you may have no chance of winning, and it could be the one who gets the uninterrupted run with the head of steam up at the right time. I thought this was a real game of cat and mouse ready to unfold.
Oh, isn't it? This is a trick. It really is, this race, because Tight Line, a horse who's been beaten on an off track. I think you've got to forgive the run to start to go. The horse was enormous, sort of climbing over them. We're not really getting the pinch of luck that I was looking for. Cinerama is progressive, beaten on a heavy surface where I don't really think the horse really enjoyed those conditions but got through on pure ability. And the same can be said about Together as well. I think Together is a horse who can get to black type level as well, and we've heard that from Jamie Richards in the past. So they are the 3 that I'm around, and it's just around which 3 gets that right run to be winning this race in the small field. Look, in the end, I leant towards the 3 over the 5 and the 2, but I think you could throw those numbers up any different way and you could come up with a different result around the race. So, yeah, tricky race to be betting into overall, I thought, Michael, but I went with Cinerama just.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Tight Line because it has won there on that track before, but I agree, one spot further back and it could just be a mess of a race if you're on the wrong horse. Next on the card sees the hottest favourite around the country today in Santa Catarina, $1.50. Man, that is absolutely rock bottom for mine. I did speak to Stephen Marsh during the week and he said to me, yeah, we like her, of course we do, but he was a little bit concerned. She tried really hard fresh up, and that second up factor. So I'll be honest, I can't take $1.50. Stephen, what's the story here? Because that's getting incredibly short, and I'll be honest, I know we've had a couple of scratchings in Star Treasure and Salt Bay, but Marshy didn't give me a $1.50 push. I was thinking more $2. I know it's not going to get there, so has the money come for her?
Well, I'm surprised Stephen Marsh turned away odds on. He likes those $5 quotes around his runners, but at $1.50, look, the betting plunge almost came off last start, or first up back in New Zealand a few weeks back at HQ around Santa Catarina. Surely it's got to improve off that. $1.50, yeah, look, there is potential. I'm not going to hide the fact that there is potential it could drift from $1.50. They are winning the spec a couple this morning. One of them being Born Dragon, $8.50 and a $7.50. That's a move alone this morning. Short fuse. Got as high as $9 off a shortener of 8.5, back into $8. Just a canter, 11. Got as short as 10, just out to 11. A little bit of speaking for the outsider. No finer pins, drawn the ace. Might be one that just sits nicely on speed here at Tauranga. 31 into 26, currently a losing liability. So at the moment, we are winning on Santa Catarina. So like I mentioned, Mick, there is potential that $1.50 could drift. We could possibly see $1.60 in the short term, but the liabilities around Born Dragon, short fuse, just a canter, and also no finer pins. Look, that might even out as soon as we get 4-figure bets on the fave, but currently if the race was to jump right now, we're losing on 3 or 4 runners outside the favourite.
Okay, $1.50, you'd hope it bounces out of touch. Excuse me, like a lot of the presenters at the moment, I have a slight cough. We've all been in the heat, in the suits, and then into the air conditioning, so there's a lot of sniffling going on at trackside at the moment. The good news is you can't catch it through the television. I thought BP way too short, Santa Catarina. I think she can win, but I don't want to be on a $1.50 chance second up.
No, and look, I'm a bit like you actually, and I'm trying to find some other value in the race around this horse. For sure, look, she's been good enough to win at stakes level as a 2-year-old. She competed through the spring in Australia with not a lot of success, and she's come back super with how she's finished into second position, just missing at Ellerslie. I want to show you the race, and I want to show you the race for her, and also another run in the race that I do believe can be a big danger, and that is Virtuoso Lad, who was second to last on the inside when finishing into 5th position. Also back there is No Finer Pins for Karen Fursden as well. Now, Virtuoso Lad is a horse who's actually closed stronger through his splits than Santa Catarina when finishing into 5th position. So he's come home in 33.71, considering Santa Catarina sat in a trailing spot and has come home in 33.9. So right across the board, his closing sectionals have been better than Santa Catarina, and he's finished into 5th position. He's paying $14 while Santa Catarina is at $1.50. I'm happy to have something on Virtuoso Lad, and I'm very happy to find out at $14. And if Santa Catarina wins at $1.50, where, look, it is expected, will so be it. You shrug your shoulders and you move on, and you chuck it in the quaddie as a little bit of a saver as well. But I'm happy to have something on Virtuoso Lad on how he's run there last time to the races at the price.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on anything against $1.50 chance second up. And as I said, Stephen Marsh didn't say, I don't think he can win. He just said, just be a little bit careful here. She's tried really hard, and that could have given her a headache after that last start at Ellerslie. Sixth on the card is the Dry Mix Cement Bay of Plenty Cup, and I really like one here. As much as I think that Roger, that's a good horse who's been in excellent form, and the 3 kilo claim's a big help. Filar comes into this beautifully. Spoke to Marshy during the week about his Guineas runners, and good win last time out at Otaki. Clearly it's going to cop 2100 metres, absolutely no concerns. It's probably a horse who's going to end up in a good Cups race, if not in Brisbane next season. Again, Lethanus has a really strong book of rides, should posse up close enough to the speed. Let's see where the money has gone. It tends to be a horse, Stephen, who does get money, Filar, but have they kept away from backing it too heavily because Roger That is coming out of a very strong Avondale Cup behind the subsequent Auckland Cup winner last start?
Yeah, I think you've nailed it, Mick, in terms of Roger That. Very strong form reference around the Avondale Cup. The first 3 in that also ran the first 3 in the Auckland Cup. So they're pretty keen on Roger That, in particular in the last 1 or 2 hours this morning. Got as high as $4.80 this morning, now trading at $4.20, saying that Filar does match dollar for dollar around Roger That. But overall, they just like the 2 runners at the top of the block. Number 3, Filar, 360. Got as short as 350, just back out to 360 on the back of the warm support around Roger That. 480, which I mentioned. Top fluck was $5 around Roger That earlier in the week, now trading as short as $4.20. Chasu Bao, 550 out to 6. RT, 650 into 6. Justin Mays, 7 got as high as $8, back into $7.50. They're pretty keen on this horse to make an appearance in New Zealand Cup week for the 2 mile race next season. So interesting to see how it goes back over distance. A little bit of specking around wide awake, 23 into 21. But overall, Filar and Roger That account for around about 75% of total turnover for today's Cup.
You know, it could really be the tortoise and the hare here, because Roger That should posse up somewhere handy enough to the speed from an inside draw for Nick Bakar, and probably seeing Filar a few horses behind it, and Leith will be looking for Nick Bakar and trying to work out where he is. BP, this could be really interesting, because I think Roger That gets its chance to win, and it comes out of one of the form races of the season, but we've all known Filar's going to end up being a good horse, and I thought the last start win suggested that break over the summers helped him strengthen up a bit.
Yeah, I think you're bang on there, Michael. Filar is a horse who's going to compete in a nice race, and look, he's run 3rd in New Zealand Cup. He went into that New Zealand Cup campaign as a futures favourite for many weeks leading into it, and he's finished 3rd in the end in the New Zealand Cup. He's had a run on slow ground here when last presented and won. So look, if the rain was to arrive, or if any sort of rain would be falling here, it wouldn't be a problem, as it wouldn't be a problem for Roger That as well. So this is Filar. He's got a very good turn of foot as well. We've seen it when he's been able to win over that 1,600 metres and a dashing win around Ellerslie. That, look, he's got it all. He certainly has. And maybe the co-owner and Leo Malloy might have a few extra dollars to spend today as well, after Consensus got it done at 24-1 last night at the Valley. So that's Filar when winning, and Roger That is the horse who brings all the good form lines into the race, and form lines that are very hard to ignore. Nick Bakar, an up-and-coming apprentice who's doing a great job for Tiakau, picking up regular wins, gets a vital 3 kilograms off the back. I find it between those two runners, I've gone one, Roger that, just over the 3 in Falar. Artis gets 3 kilos off as well with Taiki Yanagita aboard, and she's been a good consistent mare this season. She won the Wairarapa Cup 2 starts ago, and she was tested in open company in the Nathans when last presented, when finishing 4th and behind Gundown. 1 to beat 3, 8 and 7, Michael, in the Bay of Plenty Cup.
Good race. Should be a really nice case of one horse stalking the other among the two favourites. Feature of the day brings together an eclectic bunch of horses. One who started his career in Ireland, ran second in the Irish 2000 Guineas. That's Endless Drama. High Flyers campaigned well here, been to Australia. Volpe Veloce, of course, has won a railway up to 1600 today. And Tiptronic second 2 starts ago in a Wait for Age 2000, just in front of Elusive Treasure. So there's a lot of form lines here from very vastly different places for the Windsor Park Stud Japan-New Zealand International Trophy. It's a traditional race, and well done to Windsor Park for sponsoring it to keep it at that $100,000 level. What did you make of this, Hunty? Because you had money for Volpe Veloce, but gee, $3 is short enough, brother. I mean, it's only won the one race this campaign, and she's a mare who gets back in the field, Stephen, and I'll be honest, this could be a tricky race to be back in the field. There'll be good tempo, but $3, you're too short for mine.
Yeah, look, I take your comments on board, Mick. The key is money doesn't lie, and it holds for 50% of total turnover. Now, that could change. There's plenty to play up between now and 4:15. Look, it's not a false favourite, Volpe Veloce, but it's almost a default/false betting prospect at the $3 line. That's from what you're probably mentioning, Mick. The terms that the second favourite has a big question mark where High Flyer is at compared to maybe 12 months ago. He was beaten as a hot favourite at Trentham, albeit on a rain-affected track. The Mitigator, look, a horse that doesn't profile as a betting prospect for a lot of its starts to date. It's a horse that's many times run for us here in Petone, the Mitigator at 6.5. So you've got to go outside maybe that top 3 or 4 in the market to have a little bit of a spec against Volpe Veloce at $3. One of them has been the stablemate in Tiptronic, 9 into 8. True enough. Now, this is a decent lead in that middle market out of a powerful stable, the Baker Forsman stable. Craig Grills, who we all know won the Derby a few weeks back, so you've got an informed jockey for a horse that will map maybe one out, one back potentially from that nice draw barrier 6. Opened at 12 during the week. We saw a $500 bet as soon as betting commenced on Wednesday. There's been a flow of money right throughout the week and even doors this morning. So as short as now $9.50, true enough. And Endless Drama has also attracted good support this morning. I think Des Coppins tipped this one out on radio trackside. As high as $12 this morning, now trading its opening line $11. My question mark around Endless Drama is maybe the 1600 metres. It has not won over 4 times at the mile, but we know the mile at Gate Par is not a hard mile. So maybe if it got the right run, it could fall in over 1600 metres. But overall, Volpe Veloce, best back runner, but there is specking outside for Tiptronic, True Enough, and Endless Drama.
Okay, very even contest and speed right across the front line, but we're expecting those out wide. Donna and Billy, he's Cavalier, Nicoletta, the Mitigator to go forward, and that's going to create natural tempo in the race because once they Constantine are up, they're going to need to keep pressing on. BP, this is a hell of a good race. I still think the best races we have for punters in the country, Brendan, are these set weights and penalties, or on occasions Wait for Age miles, because it brings so many different form lines together. I love having a punt on them, and we've got a really good race here if you don't want to be backing Volpe Veloce.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got it at the top of the book, don't you, with Endless Drama, you know, who was good enough to win an Apollo Stakes and got within 6 lengths of Winks a couple of years ago as well. Did Endless Drama. Was actually here last Saturday at an exhibition gallop with Shirley Sacred, who picked it up close to the line, but did have a nice hit out to get ready for this particular race, did Endless Drama. I keep coming back to the race every time, though, and I see tempo in the race, which is always going to play into a horse like Volpe Veloce, as we know, can finish a race so strong. She was good enough when she got away from those Group 1 races to pick up a prize this season, which, of course, was 3 starts ago when she won the Westbury Classic and chasing down Sleeping Beauty. She's a horse who's then competed in 2 Group 1s following. She was very good in a railway this season as well. So she's got the turn of foot to be able to pick up what's in front of her, and especially if the tempo is very good as well. So I keep coming back to her. She's the deserved favourite in the race. Outside of her, though, you can play around with some other options. I think Tiptronic's a horse who
won't be an issue if going back to the 1600 metres. We saw him good enough to be placed in behind On the Rocks over 1600 metres in a Richfield Mile, and of course was then Group 1 placed in at Herbie Dyke this season as well, was Tiptronic. High Fly, a tricky one to try and assess. We're going to hear more from Peter Locke earlier in the day just to get a bit of a line on High Fly. As we know, he's Group 1 quality. He was Group 1 place this season in a Tarzino. My little roughie in the race might have been Watch This Space, actually, who won this race when it was wet in 2016. Recent runs have been okay. Happy to have a little nibble on that horse at $26. But yeah, every time I look at the race, Michael, I keep coming back to Volpe Veloce.
Okay, with your $100 spend for the day, BP, how you going?
Look, most of it's going to be centred around Hassa Halo in race number 2, to be honest with you, Michael. Look, I'll spend $45 on her to win race number 2. Marked her as my best bet on the program. My value bet will be with Virtuoso Lad, who lines up in race number 4. Happy to be back in that horse each way at 14s and 250. So I've gone each way on that runner. A win bet on Roger That at the 480 that the bookmakers put up this morning. It's now 420. I'll take 480, thanks. And then Brugel in the last. And thought that horse was a little unlucky here last Saturday. And up to 1600 metres might be worth a little specky at sort of 8s and 2s. That's us.
BP, we've known each other for a long time, so I feel comfortable asking you this question. Did your wife buy you that tie?
No. Look, there is a little story to the tie. It's actually from John Bell. He gave me a box of ties last week. There was a couple of nice ones in there, and he said, go for gold. So
John Bell, the horse trainer, gave you a box of ties?
He did, yeah.
I'm going to leave that there. I've no idea how that happened. Brendan, and what you do in your own personal time is entirely up to you. Yes, okay. Brendan Popplewell getting... Stephen Hunt, has a trainer ever given you a tie?
No.
Okay.
It's
doesn't
words I
surprise
probably
me,
can't
Stephen.
repeat on TV, to be honest, being a bookie, but I definitely don't get ties.
Right. If anybody wanted to bribe you for better odds, would a tie be the sort of thing they would use, Stephen? Is that how it works? Because I'm not sure what's going on with PP there.
Yeah, no, not ties.
Okay.
I couldn't think of anything off the spot, but definitely not ties to enhance a price.
Okay. Talking about prices, outside of the races we've previewed there, and I'm still getting over the fact that John Bell gave BP a tie. Where's the money been for the other races at Tauranga today?
Well, kicking off in the first, Mick, they're pretty keen on 2 runners here. Western Girl, Mabu Zay, who come out of a special conditions race, back to Maiden Company, last race to Ellerslie. So they're pretty keen on Western Girl, 260 into 240, and Mabu Zay, 350 this morning into $3. Which way you want to play them between the two? I'll leave that up to the punters, but they're clearly the 2 best back runners to kick off the day at Tauranga. And race 5, Spring Delight, another shortener, $1.55, but clearly the best back runner there in front of Alternative Fact, who does have a little bit of money, so you might want to take an insurance bet around Alternative Fact at $4.60. But look, Spring Delight was a well-backed commodity in the Sunline Vase. Didn't live up to betting expectation, but back in grade now, they think $1.55. Yes, please. In the last race, look, Incantissimo, a well-supported favourite, and the rating 65 mile. Got as high as $4.40 during this morning, now as short as $3.80. And if there was one they're speaking at to the middle to end market, it is the number doesn't escape me right now, but Dragon Storm, 12 into 10, has been well supported in the last. So maybe one to spice up exotic bet types, number 7 it is. So Dragon Storm well supported, maybe to take a bet around Incantissimo on the last.